Fight. Welcome back to the 2 Pointers podcast. I'm Trevor Everett, and today, kind of sadly, we're doing our last trivia showdown of the offseason because, of course, as we're recording this, college football starts in less than a week. College basketball is only a few more, I guess you could say, months away, but not that far away. And the NBA season starts in late October. So all the prep, all the preseason work, everything that's going on is going to be starting to come to fruition. I'm super excited to talk to Stephen and John today about a little bit of a little promotion and fun thing to talk about at the top that I want to go over with them and have them talk about. I'm excited about for them, as well as going over college basketball and some NBA trivia. So without further ado, I'll introduce, I think, first of all, I normally try to have, former guests on this show, but I've worked with Stephen a while, and I know you two are partnering up on a podcast. So I'm very, very excited to have both of you on today. So first of all, I'll introduce from my left to right, of course, a little bit easier to see on YouTube. Stephen, first time doing a podcast with you, so how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. And I think this is the first podcast we've done between my other show as well. I don't believe I've had you on quite yet. So, yeah, this is our first time. Obviously, we've collabed together in the past. But, yeah, excited to be here otherwise.
Also somehow missed each other in the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. That was fun. That was how we first connected was, I was going to only be there for the weekend because of, full-time job and work and things I couldn't get around to. And obviously you were there a little bit earlier in the week, had some great interviews, some great stuff on YouTube there. So thanks for being here. And then John, introduce yourself, what you guys are up to with the One and Done show, of course, and then anything else you guys want to talk about, introducing that, and we can get into college basketball trivia after that.
Yeah, of course. I'm John Simpson. I'm a friend of Steven's. He kind of got me roped into the whole podcasting deal. We are actually, this is kind of like a promotion thing. We're starting our own podcast. It's a college basketball podcast, the One and Done podcast. And it's kind of like a brainchild that's come out of me and him just going back and forth talking about basketball year round. I don't think he has anybody else that, wants to talk about basketball year round. So he's always messaging me and we're talking about, the draft and college and the transfer portal and all this kind of stuff, he's kind of like, we'll start a podcast.
And I think just segue off of what John said, I think that's what's going to make our show so exciting. The fact that we can talk about the draft, the transfer portal, mid-majors, high majors, just, the whole kit and caboodle of college basketball. So I'm looking forward to it. And episode 1 will be coming out in the next day or so.
As am I, and everything will be linked in the description below. For those of you watching on YouTube, it'll be there and easy to click. For those of you watching on Apple, Spotify, Google, please click through to that link and check it out. And then, there may or may not be some ACC conversation here soon. So I'm super excited to hopefully talk about, I call it my homeland, but, I grew up in Tobacco Road, so it's kind of a familiar, comfortable thing. But looking forward to talking more about actual basketball with you guys. Today will be a lot of fun, and I look forward to going through some college basketball trivia to start out with, and then we'll transition to some NBA trivia. For those of you that are new here listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, all of our lovely podcast platforms, and watching on YouTube, I'll go over the rules first, and these guys have heard them already, but just good to hear them one more time in case there's anything that comes up or any questions. This show's not supposed to be easy. That is rule number 1, right? It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to scare them, but it is also, I just want people to, I want it to be challenging, right? I want it to be like, who was the inventor of basketball, right? This is not the kind of question we're looking for here, right? So, but the 3 rules are, we want it to be difficult. We want you to learn something. I'm going to ask you at the end with what you learned today. And then ultimately, I do want you to have a lot of fun. Rule number 4 is kind of loose, but I do want an answer no matter what, even if you have zero idea, because we've had some hilarious responses. I tell this story every time. I'll be very quick. We were doing something with the Houston Rockets with James Piercy and Biased Houston. Will and he and James both gave the exact same number. And we're talking like it was a number that was supposed to be in the thousands, and they both wrote the exact same answer, exact same number down. So we've had some hilarious moments like that. We'd like to get another one today. I'd obviously be really fun to have some answers written down, even if you have no idea what the answer is. So, and then the finale, you do 60 seconds. You don't get penalized for any wrong answers, and we'll talk more about that at the end. But that'll be as writing as many possible answers as you possibly can. So, any questions for me, fellas? Are we looking forward to it?
I'm good to go.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. I tried to go 5 minutes in the intro, and we're at 4:40, so I think we're good. The way I'll do it, too, is from my left to right, Steven's in the middle, and then John's on my right. So what we'll do is, on the odds, I'll ask Steven to be the first person to reveal the answer. I'll get a lock-in from both of you just to make it a little bit more streamlined and easy for people listening only. So, and then, of course, writing them down and showing them on the screen will help our YouTube friends as well. So question number 1. I mentioned there was only 2 multiple choice, and unfortunately, this is your first one. So we're already 1 down of multiple choice out of 10. So sorry about that, but I do think it's a fun question. Starting out with some college basketball, since you guys are going to be doing the One and Done podcast, I wanted to give you a few questions there just to kind of see where we are with the gauge of college basketball knowledge. What men's college basketball program has the most wins since the 2011 season, or 2010-11, season? Is it A, Gonzaga, B, Kansas, C, Duke, or D, Kentucky? What men's college basketball program has the most wins since the 2010-11 season? And to be clear, I'm not going to be a stickler here. I would rather you write the program than the letter in case the letter was like, I heard the wrong program. Just make it a little easier on you, that kind of thing. So if you write the program instead, that would be a little bit easier for like, oh, crap, I forgot which letter was which. So is it A, Gonzaga, B, Kansas, C, Duke, or D, Kentucky? And I've obviously multiple choice. We have a little bit less to think about here. So if you both are locked in, you can let me know that, and we can keep going. If not, I'll give you some time. So it looks like you both might be locked in.
I'm locked in.
Cool. All right, Steven, like I said, we'll go with odds. John, we'll get an answer from Steven first. Go ahead and show it and let us know out loud.
Gonzaga.
All right. Okay. Gonzaga. John?
Same. Gonzaga.
Focus. There it goes. All right.
Yeah.
So question number 1, like I said, progressively harder. So this one wasn't supposed to be hard, but it is Gonzaga. Gonzaga is the correct answer. Mark Few's-led squad has the most wins, and this was pretty close. I'll read them from 10 to 1. I think this list is interesting. I tried to figure out a way to make this question differently, but I couldn't come up with something, so I think this was a great way to start. Tied for 10th is Wichita State and Virginia, which is just, again, the scale of thinking about college basketball over the last 13 years, where Wichita State was back in 2010-11 in the Missouri Valley to now being, up in high, mid-major, high-major college basketball. They're tied with 326. Number 9 is St. Mary's with 327. When you think about it, that's actually not that surprising, I think. 8 is Villanova with 334. 7 is North Carolina with 338. 6 is San Diego State with 339. Arizona is 5th with 347. And then you're going to laugh and notice a theme here. Kentucky, answer D, is 352. Answer choice C is Duke, 361. Answer choice B, Kansas, 382. And, of course, Gonzaga is 398, number 1. So for the sake of the fact that I have to hold my microphone, can you both please keep score on your paper for me, and I'll ask you every couple of questions what the score is. That would help me out tremendously. I forgot to mention that. Obviously, it's 1-1 right now. No need to say it, but we're good to go. Got that. Please make sure you do that so I don't forget. So question number 2. We'll keep rolling since we got a bunch of questions to hit. You guys mentioned, actually, this is really funny segue. I didn't mean to plan this. So, Steven, I think you mentioned talking about the freedom of what to talk about, the NBA draft, how it ties to college basketball and all kinds of stuff. Who is the only Naismith winner since the year 2000 to go undrafted in the NBA draft? Who's the only Naismith Award winner to go undrafted in the NBA draft since the year 2000? I'm going to fill time while you guys are thinking. Don't think about me. Don't listen to me. I have no hints for you. I'm very stingy with hints. I am going to mention our partner, SeatGeek. If you're going to be going to any baseball games, sporting events, concerts, plays, anything that you can get on SeatGeek, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Code 2pointers. Link in the top of that description. They'll take you right into the app. SeatGeek is the only platform right now that you'll get a deal score based on value, based on seat selection, and other important things like price. You'll be able to check that out on a scale of 1 to 10, red, yellow, green. SeatGeek, link in the top of the description, gets $20 off that first purchase. Fun fact, I had a friend use this code the other day. Super happy for him. There was a baseball game that was $22. He was able to go to a Major League Baseball game for $2. So just remember that, code 2pointers, link in the top of the description. All right. That was my plug. You guys have plenty of time to still think. If you are ready, though, you can go ahead and lock it in. It's up to me. Up to you guys. John?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All
well,
right.
I think
Go right ahead.
anyway.
It's all good.
Oscar Tshiebwe.
Okay. Yeah, no points off for spelling here. I can't spell Sheboy if you tried.
I initially had Luka Garza, but I was like, I think he was drafted in the late 50s. So then
He was.
with Sheboy real quick. So
just out of curiosity, did you watch last week's episode? Because Luka Garza was an answer last week, so maybe I wasn't going to repeat myself.
I listened to it today, actually.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I'm not a one-trick pony, or at least I try not to be. Luka Garza is not correct. The correct answer is Oscar Sheboy. So, look, I said this was supposed to be hard. I did say question 1 and 2 would progressively get harder, and you guys are 2 for 2 so far. So, great start so far. Oscar Sheboy, yes, unfortunately this year did go undrafted. Kind of crazy to think that it took 23 years of NBA drafts for somebody like that to go undrafted. So, then again, though, these high-tier college basketball players, Jalen Brunson's, guys like that, like, they're going to go drafted eventually. Like, somebody is going to see the value in that. I think Sheboy still ultimately makes the team somewhere and has a decent NBA career. So, I know that's probably debatable. But we're going to go ahead and pivot now. I hate to do that quickly, right? Since you guys are college basketball, we're on a roll here with college basketball, 2 for 2. We're all excited. It's time for NBA. I had 8 questions already prepared for whoever the next victim was, and I wanted to use them, so I was really excited to try to figure out a way to do both, and you guys were okay with it, so I'm super excited to do that. Question number 3. I had a lot of fun with this one. What NBA player in the 1993-94 season completed one of the best seasons in NBA history where they won an NBA title, a Finals MVP, regular season MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA First Team, All Defensive First Team, and was 3rd in scoring that regular season? So what NBA player completed one of the best seasons in NBA history where they won an NBA title, a Finals MVP, a regular season MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA First Team, All Defensive First Team, and 3rd in scoring that regular season? Who could this be? This one's really interesting because when you look at this on the grand scale of a graphic, you're kind of like, holy crap. And then whenever I read you their statistics, it'll make sense. It'll be like, oh, yeah, I guess he did do that, huh? So, all right. Do we have an answer? It looks like we're kind of flying today. This is good. I know Steven wrote one pretty quick, it seems like. Good? John?
Yeah, I'm good.
Steven, I'd like your answer first. We're on the odds.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay. John?
Hakeem the Dream.
Yeah. Okay. Did the year help too much?
It did.
It did. It helped a lot.
So if I had not said the year, would we still be thinking right now? Potentially.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
I think all of that together is difficult. So
I was thinking maybe David Robinson, but then I kept thinking, okay, 93, 94, it's probably Hakeem. So that's what ultimately. And I know I watched last episode, and I believe David Robinson was an answer for that as well. So I know we just talked about goals and everything.
Fair.
It's funny. David Robinson was the other name I was thinking of too. I was trying to remember.
Okay.
I was thinking in my head like what years, the non-Jordan years,
This is why I like asking for thought process out loud. So that gives me feedback for next year when I won't include a year for that type of question, because I would have loved to see if David Robinson pops up, but I like the thought process. I like that you guys were in the same place with that. The correct answer is Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm delaying the inevitable. 3 for 3, guys. This is, I think, one of the hottest starts this season, right? We had 6 episodes last year, episode 11 now, but one of the hottest starts, so be proud of that. Like I said, I'm holding true to that. I think this gets harder, but we'll see what happens. Hakeem Olajuwon that season averaged 27.3 points per game, 11.9 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 1.6 steals, 3.7 blocks, 52% from the field, and 71% from the free throw line. He literally almost completed the perfect season. If you want to count the scoring title as like the pinnacle last thing, he was 3rd in scoring. Like, unbelievable to think what he did. The peak of his powers when Jordan obviously stepped away to play baseball. We're gonna call it.
Was that the year they were like the 6th seed and won it all?
I know they won it both those years though. That's a good question, actually. Let's take a look. Why not? We're already, like I said, we're already through a couple of questions. Let's take a look. 94, 95. They were pretty dominant the couple of years there in the West, so I don't know what year they would have been. 94, 95, the Houston Rockets were...
Big Shot Bob was on that team.
Yep. Let's see. They won 44 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder... Let's take a look now. Let's go 94, 95 playoffs. Seasons. Aha, there we go. All right, I love Basketball Reference. They make you work for the answer. So 94-95, the NBA champion, MVP that year was David Robinson, by the way. Or I guess 94-95. I guess I'm looking at 93-94. I was looking at the wrong year, but the answer's still the same for the totality of it. David Robinson won the year after. I had the year wrong in front of me. So let's see. They were West. Oh, of course, they do it by division. Got it. Thanks. That's fun. Love the division thing. Let's see. Their record was 47-35, and it looks like they would have been 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, they would have been a 6 seed. Yep, they would have been the 6 seed that year. Yeah. So, and like I said, funny how David Robinson got weaseled in somehow again into the random research for the question live. So I love that. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to question number 4. What 2 NBA franchises have never relocated from their original location where they were founded? You do have to give both for the answer. So what 2 NBA franchises have never relocated from their original location that they were founded in? Crazy to think that there's only 2 of them in 78 seasons in the NBA. Not that that's a hint, just reading it out for context for time-filling purposes. So what 2 NBA franchises have never relocated from the original location they were founded? And there's an interesting, semi-interesting backstory to this, but I won't go through the whole thing today. I hear writing and I hear a pen that went down, so that's good. That was quick. So I know Steven wrote an answer down, so I'll go ahead and say that are you both locked in? Both good?
Yeah, I'm locked in.
All right, cool. Steven, we're on odds again.
Am I going first?
John, go first. I keep forgetting to switch it. I'm bad at this.
I'm terrible at this. Toronto Raptors and Orlando Magic.
Okay. All right.
The game's my answer for the last one. Celtics and Knicks.
Okay. I'm just now realizing that I technically should have clarified as original franchises in the NBA, like pre-ABA merger. So I feel bad because Orlando Magic technically is correct because they were a founding team of Orlando and they were not relocated, but they were an expansion franchise. So I'm trying to figure out the way to weasel in the fact that Steven's correct with the 2 answers I was looking for. And I'm trying to figure out how to be fair on a technicality basis here. So in 78 NBA seasons, technically the only 2 teams, and I say technically because I'm going to have to stick to the answer based on the research, John. Technically, the Knicks and the Celtics are 2 teams that have never relocated, as in, like, were never an expansion. They were founded by the NBA or by a franchise in its original place and not through an expansion by the league. So I feel bad about the technicality because technically the Magic count based on loose verbiage, but I have to give Steven the correct answer because the Knicks and the Celtics were the only 2 founding teams from that year in 46-47 to be NBA franchises that never relocated. Are we good there? I feel bad. I feel like that was like such a bad technicality.
Yeah.
When I looked it up,
and I was like, well, surely they had to be
sense. Yeah. Well, and like I technically realized too that you could go with like you could go with the Miami Heat too. You could go with any league expansion franchise that happened. Yeah. So, but no, the fact that Steven got both answers I had written down, I have to give him credit for the point. So, wow. Yeah. Now sometimes I used to do this with a co-host, no excuses. I used to do this with a co-host so we could always fact check each other here. I can't make that excuse, of course, because I'm still, I'm solo today. So, we're going to move on to question number 5. Greg Popovich was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame and is the longest tenured head coach in the 4 major U.S. sports leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL, for those that probably maybe didn't know that. He led the Spurs to the most wins in the NBA since he became head coach in 96-97. In that same time frame, the Miami Heat are 3rd and the Los Angeles Lakers are 4th. What team is second most in wins in the Greg Popovich era? The Lakers and the Heat are 3rd and 4th. Heat are 3rd, Lakers are 4th. What team is second most behind the Spurs in the Greg Popovich era? Question number 5. And to fill time, I'm going to offer a public apology to John and every listener who's probably like booing at me and throwing tomatoes in the YouTube comments that technically that was a count. And I feel bad about it, but the finale, you have many opportunities to make up as many points as humanly possible, that there's an unlimited amount of answers. So I do think the finale ends up making things fair. So, and I may offer a bonus point here in the next few questions. We'll see what happens. Pretty stingy with bonus points, but you never know. We'll see. So who is second in the Greg Popovich era in wins since 1996-97? The wording.
Who was 3 and 4 again?
The Miami Heat were third, and the Los Angeles Lakers are fourth. So I basically gave you a 1 in 26 shot. A 1 in 26 shot. So that's what I love about the show. Is it again?
Well, not the Orlando
it has to get harder. Yeah. Well, maybe you never know. I don't know. They were founded in 88, 92, something like that. I don't know. I love that. I love how he's like, it wasn't the Orlando Magic, just to sprinkle in more salt into my guilt wound. No, I will say, this is no hint, but I do think this answer surprised me. It surprised me until I thought about it and was like, okay, that actually makes sense when you realize, like, I'll give you more whenever we're done. Actually, I'm going to not slip up there. I was going to slip up and be like, when you realize how many of these guys did this and that. No, I do think this answer did surprise me. I will say. So, question 5. We still thinking? We writing answers? What do we got?
I'm locked in.
Yeah?
Yeah, me too. Now I'm second guessing my answer, but yeah, let's go.
I don't think my answer's right, but I'm locked in.
So I'll get a 1 in 26 shot. Steven, who you got?
Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
Which I don't believe is accurate, but that was my guess.
Okay. John?
I went with Boston Celtics.
Okay. I unfortunately do not have 5 through 30 in front of me, so we have no idea how close these answers are. But based on that wording, that is probably going to tell you that neither of you are correct. The correct answer is the Utah Jazz with 1,229 wins. And to answer what I was trying to finish saying without giving anything away, when you think about how many eras they had, right? That was the finishing of Karl Malone and John Stockton, which they were still good in 96, 97. They were good in 97, 98. They were good in 99, 2000. And then they went through a little bit of a lull there. Had Andre Kirilenko. I think that, you had a few good years of him. They were winning games, at least making playoffs there. Then you had like the Al Jefferson days and stuff. And then Gordon Hayward comes in. And next thing you know, it's just, they won with a bunch of Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert teams. And even last year, they weren't that bad, right? Like they were winning games more than we thought they were. So going all the way up until today. So to give the full answer here, the Lakers have 1,211 with fourth, Miami Heat 1,228 third, Utah 1,229 in second, and then San Antonio a whopping 100 and something ahead, the 1,369 wins in the Greg Popovich era. Deservingly so, one of the best Hall of Fame classes we've literally ever seen. It was like, with this year, it was like what, Pop, Tony, I'm already blanking. Dwayne Wade, I think, was in there. I think Dirk was in there. This year's class was Pau Gasol. Thank you. I knew there was somebody I was missing. Really, really awesome class this year. When you think about it, though, Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant and I think Tim Duncan were all Hall of Famers the same year. So kind of hard to beat those three. But pretty good Hall of Fame class, and Greg Popovich was included in that, of course. So let's go ahead and get a score update, and then I have a fun question that has nothing to do with the show. So score update, John, how many points you got through question number
3.
5? Okay. Steven?
4.
4. All right. In 3 words, Steven, how are you feeling through question number 5? You don't have to write them down, by the way.
Pretty
Someone did that
decent.
a few weeks ago. Pretty decent. Okay.
That's 2
Okay.
words.
John? It's all good. 3 or less. That's fine. Yeah.
A little worried. No.
A little worried. There you go. Good. I've got some good answers. I like that. A little worried.
Getting tougher. It's all right. It's fine.
Yeah, you're literally having to pull out a random team out of 26. So, yeah, it's supposed to get harder, I hope. Getting close to halfway through. We'll keep going to question number 6. This is your last, I would call it, actually not, it's not your last fun format, but this is your next fun format of the episode. Closest to the number without going over. Price is Right style, right? We're trying to get into the Price is Right game. We're trying to get the little, the 4 people trying to get the right price. Closest to the number without going over gets the point. If you both go over, it is closest to the point at that point. So David Stern was NBA commissioner for 30 years, and then current NBA commissioner Adam Silver followed suit. How many days has Adam Silver been in NBA commissioner's office? How many days has Adam Silver been NBA commissioner? And I will tell you the truth. There is a randomness to this question. I get it that we are on question number 6. We are halfway through this quiz, and it seems like that is so out of left field. But there is a hilariously ridiculous NBA Finals stat that I'd like to read in some form or fashion, and this was the only way to get this question to come out. So I'm very excited to read this fact that has nothing to do with this answer, but it is the fact that it had to be known, like how ridiculous this sounds whenever I read it. There's an NBA Finals stat that ties back to these two fellas that I'd like to read, and I had to come up with some number that was not 10 or 12 or 15 or 32. And, we had to find a number. So there's your number. What are we going to get to, right? Closest number without going over. I'll read it one more time. David Stern was NBA commissioner for 30 years, and then current commissioner Adam Silver followed suit. How many days has Adam Silver been NBA commissioner? And then I will give you the date that he was a commissioner and the days when we get the answer. So, do we have a number? We're still thinking. This one's fine. You can be doing math. Like, there's no rush. Like I said, we're only 25 minutes in. We're halfway through. We're good. Making great time. We can be doing math. We can be thinking. I don't know if I said this. Somebody asked 3 episodes in a row now, but calculators are not allowed. If you've already used one, I don't care. But, be thinking about it. Be writing it down, etc. Closest to the number without going over.
Without going over.
If you go over, that's fine. Just hope that Steven went over, or vice versa. If you both go over, somebody's got to get the point, right? That's the cool thing about this question is somebody's getting a point right now. Like, it's just a matter of, let's see how close we are. We've had some crazy numbers and answers before. I can't wait to see where this number goes. So, you're like looking back at your answer, Steven. You're like, I don't know what to feel about this.
So I wouldn't have to do math.
And here you are on a trivia podcast doing math. Isn't that the beauty of this industry? All right. Sounds like we might both be locked in. I think we are.
I'm locked in.
Steven locked in?
Right, John, you? Yeah.
Yep.
John, you want to go first?
Yeah, in true Price is Right fashion, I don't trust Steven's math, so I'm going to go with 1.
Oh, yes. No one's ever, in 11 episodes, no one's ever done this. I'm so happy someone did this finally. Yes. Last one, best one. All right. So last one of this season, I guess. Steven, did you do the same thing? Because if you did, I'm cutting the pot off.
I'm actually pretty happy because I think I underestimated this. So I have 2,873.
Okay. So I love this. I love this so much. I'm so glad that someone did this. All right. So technically, we could have run into a problem where you both wrote 1, and I would have had you both write another number. So I'm glad that neither of you did that, or both of you didn't do that. Sometimes the one strategy, though, if you've watched Price is Right, doesn't always pay off, right? And unfortunately, even though Steven wasn't technically he was close, I guess you could say. 3,488 days ago, Adam Silver on February 1st, 2014 took over as NBA commissioner. So based on the criteria given at the beginning of the question, Steven is going to get the correct answer here. Again, someone had to get the point there. I think the one strategy is so good sometimes, but in this time, Steven was a little less than the answer. So no, it's good. I like it. No, again, I'm so glad someone technically, no one's ever done that.
My guess was going to be 3,500.
So it would have been
insane to me hearing that number.
Still been over,
but so close,
by so little, yeah. And then Steven would have still gotten it by technicality's sake.
This
question is nauseating. Yeah, that's all good. No, yeah, eventually the guys that put 1 on the Price is Right, like you got an hour to pull it off, right? So I mean, people typically somebody ends up doing it, right? I think it's great. So 3,488 days, and obviously I preface that there was this grand reveal of an NBA Finals stat that I'd like to read you. So I'm going to pull that up now and make sure I have that in front of me because I should have already. So Adam Silver era, once the Nuggets won the NBA championship, he has been commissioner for the better part of 10 years, they're calling it, or 10 NBA seasons, because we had that weird 2020, 2021 debacle. So we've had 10 NBA seasons in his tenure. We've had 7 different NBA champions: Spurs, Warriors, Cavs, Raptors, Lakers, Bucks, and Nuggets. So 7 different champs in 10 years, right? You obviously had some of those Cavs teams in there, Warriors repeats, etc. In the David Stern era, in 30 NBA seasons, we only had 8 different champions. And if you don't count the fact that the Mavericks were a one-time champ, then we technically only had 7 multiple-time winners, or 7 total winners that were different each time. That was Lakers, Celtics, Pistons, Bulls, Rockets, Spurs, Heat, and then the Mavericks in 2011. I just had to find a way to make this a question, and the only way I could do it was commissioner days. And if we did David Stern's math, it would have been somewhere like in the 12,000 number or whatever, however many days, 365 days times 30 or whatever. So, which I guess for fun, I'm actually going to do that math right now just to see what it is. But, you know, he was in office for 10,950 days. So I wouldn't have expected either of you to get to that number. But yeah, here we are. So I had to weasel that trivia question in somehow. And I do think it's fascinating. So, all right, question number 7. There are only 3 active NBA players with 1,000 career points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Those players are LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and what big man? I'll read it again. There are only 3 active NBA players with 1,000 career points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. They are LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and what big man? Active career big man with a lot of those statistical categories. You can thank NBA Twitter for this one. The NBA Twitter provided this question. Not a sponsor, not paying NBA Twitter anything, but you know, shout out to NBA Twitter for this question, because it was good enough that it made the show. So, actually, technically, shout out to StatMuse, because I think they were the first ones to post it. So, shout out to StatMuse for this. Do not forget that you can use code 2Pointers for $20 off your first purchase. Link in the top of the description. I'll also take this time to talk a little bit about the Everything College Basketball magazine that will be coming out here in less than 45 days. It will preview every single college basketball team, all the way down from low major, mid major, all the way up to high major college basketball, with some really cool features there. Everything College Basketball is a partner and affiliate of House-Enterprise, who is also the site for my show as well. So thank you to House Enterprise for the opportunity. The magazine will be really, really awesome. Pre-orders will start going out here in a few weeks, and I'll keep everyone updated on that. So cool little plug for the magazine there. It'll be on a really good deal this year. It'll be delivered directly to your email. So super excited to put the magazine out with Everything College Basketball. All right. Do we have an answer so I don't have to keep doing promotions in between questions?
One more categories one more time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. Only 3 active NBA players that have 1,000 career points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. So basically the 5 major categories that have been tracked since the mid-'70s. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and what big man? What big man?
The steals is what gets me.
I promise you, when you hear it, it will get you even more. Like, the steals is not. I can't say don't get hung up on anything, but like, we're on question 7, so again, this answer is not supposed to be easy. So I couldn't figure out how to make this multiple choice, so I apologize about that. All right. I hear penning, writing. I hear all that stuff. So this is good. Okay.
Right, I'm taking a spot.
I think we're locked in. Steven? I don't know who's been going first or what. Doesn't matter. I'm just calling whoever I look at first at this point. I'm super forgetful. Go ahead with your answer.
So when you said LeBron and KD, I was thinking longevity. But this answer doesn't really speak longevity, but it speaks stats for sure. My guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Love Giannis. Okay. John?
I thought Giannis, but I don't know if I considered him a big man. So I was thinking on the longevity part, and I put Kevin Love.
Ooh, that's not a bad guess.
Neither guess are bad, and I guess it technically constitutes what you consider a big man. So I left it up to interpretation for the fact that like I had to, and I'm gonna be long winded for a second, but I wanted to just say what player. And then I realized how obscure this actually is. So I figured big man at least sent you down a path, right? Sent you down Giannis's path. Kevin Love, I do think is actually like a pluck that very well is probably really close to being right. Because he obviously dominated the boards for a couple years there in Minnesota. I'm being long-winded. You guys were technically on the right path with longevity. I'm going to make sure how many years this guy's been playing just to kind of throw this out there. Yeah, so he was drafted in 2013. What's up?
No, go ahead. I was going to say, if it's you, Giannis, I'm quitting the show.
Yeah, it's probably that. He stopped playing. He stopped playing basically after 2015. So yeah, that's a good. But he could have. You never know. If you're thinking longevity, you don't think about this player. I feel horrible. This is such a dumb question. This player was a 2-time All-Star, so this isn't some chump we're talking about. He was a 4-time rebound champ, and he was All-NBA in 2015-16, and he was also All-Rookie team his rookie year. Player you're looking for, drafted in 2013, is Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is the only other player with 1,000 points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks actively in the NBA right this moment. Shout out to StatMuse for the obscurity of that stat. I had to do a double take whenever I saw it pop up. And it was literally LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Andre Drummond, which, again, wish that was a joke, but it is not. Here, I'll go ahead and actually for the YouTube audience, and I'll try to find the screenshot and put it in like the actual YouTube editing, but there it is. Active players with those 5 statistical categories. You have Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and there's your man Andre Drummond right there. As ridiculous as it sounds, I'll try to find that to get that screenshot into the YouTube editing later. So, all right. Now that the Andre Drummond question is out of the way, again, this show's supposed. I have fun putting this show together. That's half the fun of it. So, all right. Question number 8, your last multiple choice of the episode. Got a few more questions left. What active? We're going active again. Like I'm trying to stay in the moment here. Actually, the next 2 are active player questions. What active NBA player has more career steals than fouls? So who has more career steals than fouls as an active NBA player? Is it A, Patrick Beverley, B, Kawhi Leonard, C, OG Anunoby, or D, Chris Paul? Is it A, Patrick Beverley, B, Kawhi Leonard, C, OG Anunoby, or D, Chris Paul? Point guard, CP3. What active NBA player has more career steals than fouls? All right. Take your time on the answers. I'm going to make sure I have some stuff for the finale ready while you're doing that. And I will probably edit all of this out because I'm talking into the mic while I do it. So, all right. Okay. So one more time and then we'll get some answers. What active NBA player has more career steals than fouls? Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, OG Anunoby, and Chris Paul. Love the ambiance of the pen, which tells me I don't have to ask for it. That's perfect. All right, we'll go ahead and get your answer first. Steven, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Perfect. All right, John, go right ahead.
I'm going with D, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, the point guard. Steven?
Kawhi Leonard.
Okay. Do either of you have any logic behind your reasoning, or are you just taking a guess? Do either of you have any thought process that you'd like to I'm just curious.
My logic, I was between Kawhi and Chris Paul as well, but my logic is that Chris Paul played in so many more games than Kawhi, given the longevity, and 2, the health concerns. And I was just thinking that I leaned with Kawhi for that reason alone.
Okay.
That he played
John?
less games and had less opportunity to foul.
Any like particular reasoning?
So I went Chris Paul just because I know that Chris Paul has a whole lot of steals.
He does.
Yeah,
It's a ton.
I know he's like way up on the top steals list, I think. And, so I figured maybe that many steals, it might shake out somewhere. And he gets a lot of minutes too. He's had a lot of career minutes. So I'm thinking if he's had a lot of career minutes, then maybe he's not fouling out so much.
Yep. All right. So Chris Paul was really close, I will say. Like his was only less than 400 off for that kind of length of career. Patrick Beverley was also another one who was pretty close. OG Anunoby was the next closest, and Kawhi Leonard is the correct answer. The longevity piece is a small giveaway. Kawhi Leonard obviously has played, he's had a few seasons where he literally only had 9 fouls, and in those few games he had, 15 or 18 steals, so that definitely didn't help this statistical, answer, I guess you could say. But Kawhi Leonard's correct. 1,085 steals in his NBA career and 1,072 fouls. So this was close. Like, it's close, but it's the fact that this is a thing is a perfect someone somewhere is asking a trivia question, and that is right now and right here. So question number 8 was Kawhi Leonard. Chris Paul, by the way, was on purpose. That was a plant because I would have said Chris Paul. If you'd asked me this question on the street for $5, like you see on TikTok sometimes, I would have absolutely said Chris Paul, and I would have not felt bad about it. So with or without multiple choice, I would have said Chris Paul. So that was the intended answer choice to throw people off. Question number 9, and we'll get a score update once we get through question number 10, since we'll get to the finale there. Only 4 players in NBA history have averaged more than 16 points per game. Follow me here. 7 rebounds per game and 6 assists per game in their aged 20 season or younger. So they were 20 years old or younger. Only 4 players have done it. 16 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Luka Doncic, and what active player? So 4 players in NBA history have averaged more than 16 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists in their age 20 season or younger. LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Luka Doncic, and what active player? 16, 7, and 6. Seems like one of those cherry pick pluck stats, and then you realize when you do a little research that these guys are literally the only people to do this, and it's not close. Like these are the 4 people ever to have ever done this. And even if you raise the stat bar a few points here and there on a couple different parameters, these guys are very, very clear cut in their own league with this. So 16, 7, and 6. This is an impressive number, impressive category here. LeBron, Magic, Luka.
I'm locked in, I think.
Okay. John? Still thinking? We can still be thinking, not a big deal.
Age 20 season.
Aged 20. Not to be confused with any other parameter, but they were 20 years old or younger. I've never made this super public, but I'm a personal fan of this guy, so I do think this is an interesting thought process behind the answer. So while John's writing, I'm going to read it one more time for those listening on Apple, Spotify, and Google, and all of our lovely major podcast platforms. Only 4 players in NBA history have ever averaged 16 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists per game in their age 20 season or younger. LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Luka Doncic, and what active player? John?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. What's your answer?
Oh, my first?
Yep,
so I wasn't quite sure about this, but I'm going to go with the personal fan favorite of mine and say LaMelo Ball.
That's a really good guess. Steven?
LaMelo Ball.
Wow. Okay, so I can totally understand the thought process, though. Go ahead, Steven. I'd love to hear this.
So
This is good.
I was between LaMelo and Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay.
Halliburton's one of my favorite guys, but I figure I have a lead on John, knowing him and being a Hornets fan. This is getting back at him for putting number 1 as the answer for Adam Silver. I just said, okay, if we're both right, he can't get points on me, and if we're both wrong, he can't get points on me.
It's good. I like it. Like knowing you're the friend of my enemy is my whatever that expression is. Anyway, now that I think about it, LaMelo's a really good guess, and I kind of want to, before I give you the answer, I kind of want to build the suspense, and I kind of want to look up LaMelo's stats, even though we do have to get to question 10 very shortly. I kind of want to pull up his stage 20 and younger seasons. So he's only had 3, of course, and I believe he turned 21 in the middle of last season. So we're going to just look at his sophomore and junior season. And did he actually technically qualify? Holy crap, wait a minute, hold on. It's 16 points. I know that for a fact he did it. It's 7 rebounds, 6 assists. 6.7 rebounds. Okay, so he technically didn't qualify. 0.3 off. Okay, so that's, and the assist, of course, he cleared that, right? 7.6. Wow, that could have been very, very bad for me, but and good for you guys. But unfortunately, the Melo by 0.3 rebounds is not correct. But there's a trend now of players getting drafted, especially since, the draft is a big deal, especially to Steven and I this year, talking about jumbo ball handlers, right? These big guys that know how to bring the ball up. Obviously, they know how to rebound and make and throw assists. The correct answer is a Western Conference guard, or forward, I guess you could say, by the name of Josh Giddey. Ooh. Josh Giddey, 16, 7, and 6. I did not think he got up to 16, but that man was scoring layups like nobody's business, shooting a really high percentage from the field. 16, 7, and 6. Josh Giddey is your correct answer for question number 9. Now that we hear it, though, LaMelo, though, like, that actually is insane how close that was. Like, I'm so glad we did that live. Yeah, nuts. That could have been really bad for me. So I'm glad you both said the answer. Great that we got to figure that out live together. So, all right, final question here with about 45 minutes in, so we're timing out perfectly. Question 10 is the last fun format. It's the last question, of course, as well. So last fun format of the night. Question number 10 is going to be a guess the player by resume. Since Steven said he very openly listened to the last episode, that's totally fine. I always send the previous episode as homework in case somebody wants to do it. It has nothing to do with the questions, but the format stays the same. We're doing guess the player by resume, and we are going to be doing NBA because I do think college basketball one, no one's gotten it right yet. It's really hard, so I think the NBA at least gives you a little bit bigger pool to pull from, or better pool to pull from. Okay. So I'm going to read you a resume. I'm going to give you plenty of time to go through it, maybe 4 to 5 minutes. I'm going to read it as many times as you guys need it. Write it down if you need to. I'll keep repeating myself. Don't think about it after that, right? We'll keep going. So guess the player by resume. This player is a Hall of Famer. They're a 12-time All-Star, 1-time assist champion, which means they led the league in assists for those that don't know that. 2-time NBA champion. They were a 5-time All-NBA player, All-Rookie team, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 1-time Finals MVP, and they're a member of the NBA 75th team. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to give you a couple of minutes on that, and I'm going to keep reading them, and then I'm going to read stats, and I'm going to give you a minute after I read the stats, and we'll get a lock in, just to see if the stats really do help you. So, only 4 players in NBA history. Oh, excuse me, wrong question. Guess that player by resume. Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 1-time assist leader, 2-time NBA champion, 5-time All-NBA, All-Rookie team, All-Star Game MVP, 1-time Finals MVP, and NBA 75th Anniversary team member. So if you're following along, we are talking about one of 75 potential answers. So unfortunately for Dwight Howard, who was snubbed from the All-NBA 75 team, no Dwight Howard for this. No Dwight Howard today. I'm just trying to mess with you guys. Guess the player by resume. Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 1-time assist leader or champion, 2-time NBA champion, 5-time All-NBA, All-Rookie team, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 1-time Finals MVP, and an NBA 75th Anniversary member. And I will go ahead and read you the statistics right now. In 979 career games, this player averaged 19.2 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 9.3 assists. They shot 45, 29, and 75 splits, so 45% from the field, 29% from 3, and 75% from the free throw line. And if you care, they had an 18 PER and 80 win shares. I read it just in case, but if that helps you, good. If it doesn't, fine. 979 games, 19.2 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 9.3 assists, 45, 29, 75 splits. All right, I'm going to look for an answer in a minute and 20 seconds. I'll give you a little bit longer time. That'll get us to the 50-minute mark so we can start the finale after that. So I'll go ahead and read the resume one more time. Be thinking, be writing. Let's get back to the other screen. All right. This player is a Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 1-time assist champion, 2-time NBA champion, 5-time All-NBA, All-Rookie team, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 1-time Finals MVP, NBA 75th Anniversary team member, and they averaged in their career in 979 games played, 19.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, 9.3 assists, 45, 29, 75 splits. If we have an answer, great. If not, you have 30 seconds. 30 seconds. writing confirms that we're getting an answer here shortly. So this is good. 13-year NBA career, by the way, for what it's worth. Not that you guys are literally writing your answers, but I said he was a 12-time All-Star. So 13-year NBA career. But I am going to look for an answer. I gave you that detail a little late, but I was looking at that and realized I didn't list it. So neither here nor there. I gave you every accomplishment they've ever had in their NBA careers. That kind of helps. But we locked in.
I'm locked in.
Okay, Steven?
Locked in.
Go right ahead.
The logo, Jerry West.
Okay, Jerry West. John?
That was a good one. I went Isaiah Thomas.
Okay, so I think both are very good answers. Okay, 9 assists per game. This guy obviously knows how to pass the ball. I'm trying to figure out a way to pull the Band-Aid off. I'm going to go ahead and do it. 13-year NBA career. Zeke, the babyface assassin, Tuss, and Pocket Magic are all names listed on Basketball Reference for Isaiah Thomas. The correct answer is Detroit Pistons bad boy Isaiah Thomas. You made up your point. You made up your point from the Orlando Magic earlier. You were the first person to guess the resume correct since Jimmer Reigns, which was episode 3, which was last year. Early last year in the offseason, and where the answer was Jimmer Fredette. And, of course, the podcast named after Jimmer Fredette got the freaking question right. So congrats on that. No one has gotten a NBA resume or any college resume player yet. Isaiah Thomas, Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 1984-85 assist champion. He was a 2-time NBA champion with the Bad Boy Pistons in 89. I guess it would have been 88-89 or 89-90. But 5-time All-NBA. He was an All-Star 12 of his 13 NBA seasons. I think he was hurt one of those seasons, and that was the only time he played 48 games in one of those seasons. 81-82 All-Rookie team, 2-time All-Star MVP, 1989-90 Finals MVP, and a 75th anniversary player. So Isaiah Thomas is the correct answer. Good pull. I think Jerry West is a great guess, too, because Jerry West was – I mean, that resume is pretty similar if you look at like how they line up.
He came to mind for me, too. Then I was trying to go back and think like one.
So the key giveaway would have been the key giveaway because Jerry won a Finals MVP as a losing player. A lot of people know that. It's one of the most common facts. Actually, now that I look at it, their careers are basically identical except for the points. If I had given you the points, Jerry West would have been obvious. Jerry averaged 27, 5, and 6 in his NBA career. Good Lord. Jerry West was a bucket. I forgot all about that. No, but they really had a similar career. 14-time All-Star. Jerry West was a scoring champ. NBA champ in 72. That was the kicker. He was a one-time champ there. He was a one-time assist leader, 12-time All-NBA, which was a pretty big difference there. 5-time All-Defensive, even crazier. Finals MVP and an All-Star Game MVP. So a couple of interesting caveats there. So go ahead and get a final score update before we begin the finale questions so we have time to go over all of the potential answer choices. So, Steven, what is your score after 10 questions?
6.
Okay. John?
4.
Okay. Plenty of time, plenty of things to make up here. Not a big problem being only down 2. The finale has a ton of answers. And I'm going to go ahead and get my timer ready so that when I read the question, the rule format of this is, on YouTube, there's been some people commenting on where the pin is. So just keep the pin somewhere visible in the frame until I say begin. And once you hear begin through your audio delay, I'll start the timer to make sure it's, whatever. You'd have it ready to go in your hand. So the finale question. You'll have 60 seconds to write as many possible answers. You were not penalized for any wrong answers, so please write as many things as you can. The other thing that's really important to know is if you were in the middle of writing their name and you put LeBron and JAM, I will not be able to give you the point. I have to be fair in some form or fashion, so we're going to make sure that his full name of player. So Isaiah Thomas, we just mentioned. There's a fitting reason he was number 10. Isaiah Thomas was an all-star in 1990, and that team is very relevant for being the only team in NBA history to have every player be a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. In 60 seconds, name as many players from the 1990 East All-Star team. Begin. Do not think about me. Do not listen to me. Be writing as many answers as possible. 60 seconds has commenced, and I will give you a time update at 30 and 15 seconds. Name as many 1990 East All-Stars that played with Isaiah Thomas. You do not have to write Isaiah Thomas. That is totally fine if you did. If one of you did and one of you did not, I'm not penalizing anybody. He's obviously the correct answer because he's in it. Everyone but Isaiah Thomas. 1990 East All-Stars. 30 seconds remaining. For the last time, people will see the SeatGeek ad on YouTube. Code 2Pointers. Link in the top of the description. $20 off your first purchase. 15 seconds remaining. I'm going to give you an extra second because of the audio delay at the beginning when I say began. So, pens down, pens down, pens down. Love that. 60 seconds has ended. The 1990 East team was very, very historically relevant, like I said, and this will obviously eventually change once we start looking at Hall of Fame resumes over the last couple of years. There will be all-star teams that have made, all of them have become Hall of Famers, but as of right now, this is a relevant fact. Isaiah Thomas was on that team. I'm going to ask, for the sake of the fact that John is down 2 points right now, we're going to go ahead and get Stevens so that we can see how many John needs to pass and that kind of thing, and we'll get that'll be kind of the suspense at the end here. So, Steven, I'm going to do one by one, and you just read me, each one, and give me a second to answer it out loud, so we'll know, and then just keep score as we go, and then we'll get your total whenever we're finished. So, with yours only. So, we good?
Yep.
How many answers do you have?
5.
Okay. 5 answers. Let me make sure I've got this reference in front of me properly because I had a screenshot of it. And then we can begin. All right. Go right ahead whenever you are ready.
Michael Jordan.
Okay. Michael Jordan is correct. That is 1 point. Michael Jordan was an all-star on the 1990 East team.
Scottie Pippen.
Okay. Scottie Pippen is correct. Scottie Pippen was a all-star on the 1990 East team as well.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird is correct. Larry Bird is also correct. Let me make sure I've got the right thing here. Let me go down to the bottom to make sure I've got the... Yep. All right. So Larry Bird is correct.
Alonzo Mourning.
That is incorrect.
Okay. My last one, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but I just threw his name out there. Vin Baker.
I love the Vin Baker love today.
I don't even know if he's
Let's find out. You know what? Why not? Let me pull up a different basketball reference tab. Let's look at Vin Baker. Unfortunately, by the way, Vin Baker is incorrect. 94 to 2006. He was a 4-time All-Star, a 2-time All-NBA, and he was a 1993-94 All-Rookie. So, yeah, I mean, he's a relevant answer, technically. He, unfortunately, is not a Hall of Famer, and probably, based on the parameters, even though basketball is a little bit easier to get into out of all the sports, he probably will never be a Hall of Famer. 8th overall pick to the Bucks, though. All right. So, how many total correct answers is that?
So that's 3.
And that will put us at what?
9.
Okay. 9 total. So, John, it sounds like, what's my math here? How many do you need? 5?
5.
5. All right. Which is obviously doable. How many do you have? Do you have 5 or more written down?
Yes.
All right. We'll go ahead and get started then.
So the first one I wrote down is the Western Conference All-Star. So that's not right. Clyde Drexler.
Okay. He was an All-Star that year. I can't give
He
you
was an
points,
All-Star
but yes.
that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So go right ahead with the next one.
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson was incorrect. He was, I don't think he was an All-Star in the West either that year. Yeah. It's all good.
Okay. Larry Bird.
Got that right. Yep. So a point there for you.
Mark Eaton.
Incorrect. Mark Eaton was not an All-Star
Robert Parrish.
that year. Robert Parrish is correct. That's a heck of a pull. Robert Parrish is correct. Yep.
Michael Jordan.
Got Michael correct. Yep.
Mark Price.
Mark Price was really good, but not an All-Star that year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last one I had is Scott Skiles.
Love Scott Skiles. Assist record. That is also a trivia question somewhere. Or assist, I guess, in a single game. Scott Skiles, I don't think, is an all-star in his career. So, in totality, what did we get a final one? I'll give the answers after that. What was your final score? I think it was close.
3.
Okay, so you had
4. 3, yeah.
So, 9 to 7. Hey. Heck of a showing from both of you. Congrats, Stephen, on winning 9 to 7. I think this twist would be hard, and somehow you got technically 9 of if you think about 9 of 10 without the finale there. But still, really good showing. People have had 8, 7, 10 recently, so that's all great scores from both of you. I'll read the answers here in totality. In the West, you did have, and obviously this isn't towards the answer technically, but it's in front of me. Rolando Blackman, Tom Chambers, Claude Drexler, AC Green. That was probably I think he made the All-Star one time, so shout out to AC Green. Kevin Johnson, Magic Johnson. He was actually on that team. I would misread him. Fat Lever. I think it's Lever, not Lever. Karl Malone, Chris Mullen, Hakeem Olajuwon, who's been mentioned today many times, David Robinson, who's also been mentioned many times today, John Stockton, and James Worthy. And then in the question, all Hall of Famers, you have a couple people that weren't mentioned. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is an answer for the East there in the Philly. Larry Bird, Joe Dumars, Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan, of course, Kevin McHale. That was the only Boston Celtic that we didn't get. Reggie Miller, Robert Parrish was mentioned. Scottie Pippen was mentioned. Dennis Rodman, I know, didn't put up the greatest stats in the world other than rebounds, but Dennis Rodman was an all-star. So he had 3 of the Bulls and 3 of the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas, of course, the theme of the question. And Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight film, human highlight reel. Dominique Wilkins. So great episode, fellas. Great showing from both of you. 9 to 7 is impressive. I'll ask you both the same question I try to ask everybody now if I can remember. Steven, what did you learn today? Is there anything that you were like, I learned that today?
I learned that I'm better in trivia than I thought I was.
Okay. Everyone keeps saying that. I was hoping you'd be like, I learned that David Robinson was... No.
I learned that Jim Baker was a 4-time All-Star.
There you go. That's great. See, that has nothing to do with the questions, but I love it. He was a 4-time All-Star. He's also a top 10 pick. John, what do you think you learned today?
I learned that Andre Drummond has over 1,000 assists.
I love this question. Yes, John Ray Drummond somehow has over 1,000 assists in his NBA career.
I was thinking, I guess, 10 years, 100 assists a season. But...
Yeah. And he played. I mean, he's played a bunch. Like, it's just one of those things you don't think about until you're like on some stupid trivia showdown show on the Two Pointers podcast, and you're like, wait a minute, Andre Drummond has what now? I love that. I'm so glad that is the thing you took away from today, because I did too when I found out. So perfect timing here, solid near the hour. Guys, thank you so much. Plug away on the podcast, talk about what's going on, where it can be found, etc. And then everything will also, once it's live, whether this will be coming out Wednesday, August 23rd, as we're recording this 2 days before, so people will hear this. If it's not out yet, it will be eventually once they're hearing this. So plug away, anything you guys want to talk about, making sure we mention.
So go follow the One and Done podcast everywhere you're listening to this podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. If it's not out by the 23rd, it should be out by Friday the 25th. We, obviously just getting started up, so it might take a little bit more time than we anticipate. But yeah, I'm excited to release that college basketball content. Everyone go listen to the Bird Rights Pod and go listen to that on YouTube as well to see some interviews I did. Trevor referenced them from the Portsmouth Invitational. And yeah, that's more of an NBA-centric pod, so we got a little bit of everything going on.
Yeah, absolutely. What else can I say? I'm out there listening to the One and Done pod. Hope to get some good content coming out soon, some season previews, some transfer previews. We got a bunch of good stuff that we've been talking about, we've been planning, got going on in our heads, and excited to get that out into the world.
Over 1,000 people transferred, so good luck figuring out all the rosters and things as teams update them. There were a few ACC schools that I won't mention that have not even updated their rosters yet, as I'm doing some prep for the magazine for ECB, and it's been a whirlwind. Thank you to Bart Torvik for his services on some of the projections for rosters, for those that don't know. So, and there were some ACC teams. Bart Torvik's amazing. We love Bart Torvik. Also, some of the ACC teams last year actually didn't even upload their rosters until mid-December. So, do your own research, have your own fun. But I look forward to listening to the show. Thank you guys for coming on. On behalf of Stephen and John, this has been the Two Pointers Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you're on YouTube. If you're on a podcast platform, a 5-star rating and a review is greatly appreciated. At 2 Pointers on all social medias. 2 Pointers is also the code for SeatGeek as well, as you've seen and heard throughout the episode. On behalf of Stephen and John, this has been the 2 Pointers Podcast. I'm Trevor Everett, and we'll see you with real basketball conversation next week.